Hi, I am Maggie O'Farrell and I am delighted and honoured to have been shortlisted for this award for the book The Boy Who Lost His Spark, which I made with my friend Daniela Terrazzini, who is, to put it mildly, a much better artist than I am. Like most stories, I think, this is mostly fiction, but of course it has a lot of my own life embedded in it. I was born in County Derry, and as you can probably tell from the way I speak, I left for Britain quite soon after when I was quite young. But here's a picture of me on the beach in Donegal. It actually could be a picture of a beach anywhere, but I promise you it is Donegal. And so my father actually always would read us stories of Irish myths, and that was the only thing he would ever read us. We used to beg him to read us other stories, but he was categorically refused and would only ever read us Irish myths, which at the time I think I used to find quite annoying. But now I am sort of glad that he did, because those stories and those myths are very much embedded in my consciousness, and it's my kind of bedrock of storytelling in a way. And in the book, The Boy Who Lost His Spark, it features a little magical creature who is called a Nuka, and he lives inside, or it lives actually, I should say, he's not a he, he's in it. And it lives inside an old volcano. Here he is. It is, why do I keep saying he? And he, it is based on a pukar, which is from Irish mythology. But, and pukars live generally in bogs, and they cause all sorts of mischievous trouble for humans. And I just realised that you can't, when I was reading drafts of the story to my children, that you can't really use a creature whose name includes the first syllable as poo, because things just take a different turn, and maybe not one you might have intended. So I called my creature the Nuka, and it lives, like I said, inside a volcano, and it does, like its namesake, cause all kinds of mischief for human beings. So that's where the Nuka came from. Now when I moved to Britain, I moved to Wales. And here's a picture of me in a garden in Wales. I mean, I don't know, I'm probably about 8 there. Again, it could be a garden anywhere, but I do promise you it's Wales. And after that, I moved when I was a teenager, I moved to a very small town in Scotland called North Berwick in East Lothian. Here's a picture of me as a teenager, rather grumpy, in the harbour in North Berwick. Now North Berwick is sandwiched between the sea on one side, and behind it there is a large geological structure, which is an old volcano, and it's called North Berwick Law. And this is where the hill in The Boy Who Lost His Spark came from. You can't really see it now. I'm going to find a better picture of it. And anyway, the Nuka of the creature in the story, the Nuka, who's a very mischievous, naughty kind of agent of chaos, I suppose you would say, lives inside this old volcano. And where is the picture I'm looking for? It is very much, the hill itself is very much based on North Berwick Law, and my school, like Gem's, was right at the bottom of it. And so I used to look out the window when I was meant to be concentrating on my maths lessons and wonder about this volcano and think about what it might look like inside, how there might be little tunnels and vents and all kinds of paths where the lava used to come out. So that's where it comes from. And of course, I can't find a picture of it now, because that's what happens when you're trying to make these videos. Here it is. This is Daniela's impression of North Berwick Law, which is actually a very good one. It looks exactly like that. And my best friend at school, her farm was basically where Gem's house is. So it's on the other side of the law. And I was always fascinated whenever I used to go to her house, her farm, and look up at the law from the other direction and how different it looked and what a mysterious and fascinating structure it was. So that is where The Boy Who's Lost His Spark came from. Lots and lots of different places and inspirations from my own life, and also stuff I just made up. And I think it was important to me to write it because I felt that in the last couple of years particularly, a lot of us had moments where we might have lost our spark, and I thought it was important to write a story about getting it back. But I'm so thrilled. Thank you so much for shortlisting this book. All the best. Bye.